Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, Alton West. Today I'll have guests on from Pure Life Studio, and also I have a guest on from the LaGrange Police Department. So stay tuned for those interviews coming up in just a moment. Welcome to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Today I have two ladies sitting down that have both been on the show before. First of all, I have from Pure Life Studios, Megan McDowell.
Good morning.
And also I have a volunteer in the community, Kim Skiff. Ladies, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, it's a pleasure to have both you ladies on the show once again, and we're here today to talk about a very worthwhile cause and someone that was very near and dear to both you all's heart. And I think that someone that has been affected by something that a lot of people in our community have been touched by, and that is cancer. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But Maggie, if you don't mind, talk a little bit about Pure Life, first of all.
Well, Pure Life is a listening room, and it's specifically designed to bring singer-songwriters' original music into LaGrange. So we get writers who've written for Kenny Chesney, who have opened for Bonnie Raitt, or somebody who at least has a name or a title in the music industry, and that's usually what we do about once a week.
Okay.
Yeah.
And tell us where you're located.
We're at 206 Clark Street. It's in the Hillside area.
Okay, very good, very good. And I've heard a lot of the musicians that come away, and I've seen you all play down on the square once, and like, oh my God, they're awesome.
Yes.
So I know there's a lot of great things and a lot of synergy going on in the Hillside community, so we thank you for that establishment being there.
Thank you.
And Kim, I know that you're a volunteer in our community here, and I understand that both you ladies here were touched by cancer, by the loss of a good dear friend of you all, Carla Lee White. Talk a little bit about Carla, if you don't mind.
We lost Carla this past February to cancer. She fought a very courageous battle for 7 years, and 6 years ago she started her C4 team, which was Carla's cancer crushing crew for Hope for a Day, and her team was the largest team that walked in Hope for a Day walk. Any walker that walked had to raise $500 plus their entry fee, and she was our leader. She was our encourager, where she was the one who was going through cancer. But this year we will have our the Hope for a Day walk the last Saturday of September, and we will walk without Carla for the first time. So it's her family was her biggest cheerleaders. They were behind her. They came from everywhere to join our team, and then all of her friends. So we're hoping that anybody that was on the team from the past to the present will join us again this year and support us in this fundraiser that we're doing at Pure Life.
Okay.
Carla fought harder than anybody has ever fought. She has 2 daughters, and she fought for both of them and for her husband and family.
Absolutely. As I stated, we all, I think, have had someone in our families that have been either touched or been affected by this epidemic, I feel like, in our community. And anytime that we can do anything to raise funds, to bring, about more research on how to cure it and various things of that nature, I think is always for a very worthwhile call.
Yes.
C14 and it's Carla's Cancer Crushing Crew. That was my first time and last time saying that, ladies.
Good job.
That's a mouthful, isn't it? For a day. Let me ask, and this is you all 6th year doing this, I understand, right? And each year it seems like it has grown. Is that true, Kim?
It really has. And it's, and people, you'll talk to them about doing the walk or doing the Hope for a Day walk, and the first thing they say is, how much do we have to raise? $500. But we do fundraisers throughout the year.
Okay.
We do barbecues. We're doing a sloppy pig barbecue the day of Pure Life's, with the kickoff of the music weekend.
Okay.
And that Friday, April 29th, we'll do a barbecue at Kroger from 11 to 1:30, and Sloppy Pig is doing sack lunches. They're $8.
Okay.
You can stop by Kroger or buy tickets ahead of time. They'll be out in the community too, so just check Facebook for that.
Okay.
And then the fundraiser for Pure Life should be, one of the largest fundraisers that we do as a team.
Oh, okay. All right. Very good. The Pure Life fundraiser. Talk a little bit about that for us, Maggie, if you don't mind.
Well, we have a few artists coming through that are singer-songwriters that have agreed to, go along with doing the fundraiser. They were really excited to help. In fact, one of them is Sarah Peacock, who actually played at Hope for a Day walk last year, and she came and she gave her time. She played, I think, 3 songs that day, and when I told her, she was brought to tears and felt very, fortunate that she got to help again. So she's going to actually be on April 30th. That's a Saturday.
Okay.
And that's Sarah Peacock. I'm kind of going out of order, but
That's okay.
I brought her up because she has done this before with us. On Friday, there's Kelly Johnson with her team. It's called Four in the Fire. Kelly Johnson plays with Barry Waldrop. Barry Waldrop will not be playing that night, but she's got 2 other artists that are playing with them, and they're great. They've got a mandolin player and a bass player with great vocals. She's written for campaign slogans. She's written for commercials, international commercials. She's written for various bluegrass artists. So she's got a handful of things out there. And that's Kelly. It's called Four in the Fire, Friday, April 29th.
Okay.
We have Sarah Peacock, who is Saturday,
The
April 30th. And then May 1st, we've got Mike Jarrell and Charles, they call him Big Saxy, Robinson. And they'll be doing rhythm and blues on Sunday. That's May 1st.
Okay.
And that should be a lot of fun. They do, they're more of a, they're just going to be different. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. They'll have, some brass up there, and it'll be a good show.
All right, very good. That's the 4C weekend music series, you call it, and sounds like a great lineup there. So people can come out. Now, talk about how they can get tickets and stuff. And is there limited seating, anything of that nature they need to be aware of?
Yes, there is limited seating, so buying a ticket early is your best answer to get a ticket. We've got Stevens Exclusives, Plum Southern, Ellie Bells, and Marketplace are the 4 places you can buy tickets. The tickets are $30 for an individual ticket and $25 for 2 or more tickets purchased. So, and that,
All right, $30 individual, or $25 for 2 or more tickets, or
Correct.
2 or more days, of what I understood?
Exactly.
Okay,
Exactly.
all right, very good.
Yeah.
Great lineup.
Yeah, and we've got to mention also that each night we will have a different local vendor there providing food for purchase.
Okay.
So,
All right.
food
So
will be
very good.
available.
I heard you mention Sloppy Pig earlier.
Sloppy Pig.
We'll be having a cookout in the parking lot, I think what
At
you were saying.
Kroger.
At Kroger. And the tickets were $8 for that?
$8, and it's 2 sandwiches, brownie, and chips.
Okay.
Come through that day. You can buy tickets ahead of time. And then Sloppy Pig will be there on Friday night also to cook on site.
Okay.
And so you can just come and have Sloppy Pig on Friday night. Now Saturday,
Yes. Saturday we've got backyard barbecue,
right.
backyard grill,
yeah.
and then Sunday will be Carrie Wolf.
Okay.
And Sunday will be a light cuisine. Sunday is a late afternoon show, so it's not going to be a full dinner. It's just going to be.
Okay. And what are the times for the Friday and Saturday shows?
Friday and Saturday, doors open at 6:30,
Okay.
and music starts at 7:30.
Okay.
And then Sunday, doors open at 3, and music starts at 4.
Okay. Very good. So a great finish to a Sunday afternoon after
Nice,
church, a
yeah.
little bit of rest, then go and take in some great jazz that afternoon. Big Saxy is what I
Big
understand.
Saxy, yeah. Mike Jarrell.
Mike
and-
Jarrell, Big Saxy.
And Big Saxy. Big Saxy, his name is Charles Robinson.
Oh, okay.
So,
All right, very good. Now, I understand that you ladies are doing this in honor of Carla, whom you both lost this year, but it's more than just having the fundraising event and the memory of Carla, but you also use these funds, the proceeds go for scholarship opportunities. Talk a little bit about that, ladies, if you don't mind.
For Carla's team, we have always offered 2 scholarships to anyone that has been directly affected by breast cancer, whether it's their grandmother, their aunt, their parents, anybody in their family, and they go to LaGrange College. So they fill out an application, write an essay, and then the board, the Hope for a Day board, reviews them and offers it to 2, and they're announced at the Hope for a Day walk.
Okay.
So we do that, and then also any money that is raised through C4 or through Hope for a Day stays local to do any research for breast cancer. Absolutely. And that is one thing that was, of course, very near and dear to Carla. She fought for anybody. She was the go-to person. If anybody went and found out that they had a bad mammogram or they found out they had cancer, they would call her. And she could tell them, to keep a positive attitude, and she did. She kept a positive attitude up until her last minute.
Oh, my.
So.
And it's so wonderful to have a support team, and just talk about the support that Carla had. Not only Carla, but the other breast cancers or cancer survivors. Talk about how important that is, ladies, from your perspective, to have that support that you think.
Well, I don't think there's anything worse than feeling alone in a time of need. I think that with especially women, they're so nurturing, and they just send out this beautiful message of love all the time. So I think that when people are wrapped in something like that, you can't help but want to look forward to the next day. You've got to always have something to look forward to. And I think with people like Carla and the team, when they get together, they're that person, like there is a reason for tomorrow. And I think that's always important. And that's where the positivity comes from. I think it just has a natural flow. Aside from just telling someone to be positive, they are positive. And when they see that directly, they're affected. And it's like that, play it forward. They had a positive thing happen, they want to pass it on.
Because when Carla first found out she had cancer, her diagnosis was not good. I mean, her it was very, very slim. How long? You know, she did not have a long longevity of life, and she proved them wrong. I mean, she fought for 7 hard years, and she lived a positive life. So when other people saw that they found out they had breast cancer, and it can affect men too. But when they found out they had breast cancer, they would look at her and think, well, if she can do it, I can do it. And Carla has, 2 daughters and a husband that are still living, she's still living through them.
That's right.
And they're still getting the support through this team. So
Very good.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you one last question before we get ready to close out, ladies. If there was someone that was watching and they may not be able to get over to get a ticket, but they wanted to make a contribution, how can they do that, Maggie? Or Kim, either one of you ladies? How can
They
do that?
can write a check to Hope for a Day, and that's a good question because I don't have an address for them to send it to at this
Okay.
point.
Well, they can-
But it would be.
they can take it by PC screen printing.
Okay.
Or they can get with Tammy Neese in the community, or just get with Brad White, Carla's family. I
Okay.
mean, Brad would be glad to help, or they can contact me. It's
Okay.
fine. But yeah, just Hope for a Day will take any contributions, or just support through, the Pure Life fundraiser.
Okay, all right. Well, very good. Well, ladies, with the lineup and all the festivities there, the music, the food, and for the very worthwhile cause, I'm sure the community, as always, will come out and support and rally behind this cause, and you guys will exceed your goal exceedingly and be able to give out scholarships in honor of Carla once more. And again, this year, the 6th year, I understand, that this is taking place. So, ladies, thank you very much for being on the show today
Thank you,
to
Alton.
share this information.
All right,
you.
great,
All
thank
right.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week coming up in just a moment. Welcome back to City Week, ladies and gentlemen. Now I have on from the LaGrange Police Department, Corporal Wesley Ingalls, that's going to talk about Distracted Driving Month. Corporal, welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Well, it's always a pleasure to sit down with you and the other gentlemen and ladies in blue that protect and keep our city safe each and every day. So again, I just want to start out by saying thank you for all that you all do in our communities very much.
We appreciate it. Myself and Sergeant Armstrong, Corporal and me, we're in the traffic division. It seems like there's been increases in wrecks on certain days, like on payday Fridays. It seems like there's more wrecks on Mondays. The wrecks on Mondays increased a little bit since Saturday. And some months we'll have a lot of wrecks in LaGrange, and some months it'll kind of drop down. So it's kind of, but we're averaging a little over 2,000 a year.
Oh my, just regular traffic,
Regular
2,000 a year.
Yes.
And that's 2,000 too many in your opinion, correct?
Yes, sir.
When, especially when most of these, from what I understand, most of these could be avoided. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. A lot of us is distracted driving, people on their cell phone. I mean, it's legal to talk on your cell phone, but it's a lot easier if you had a headset or a Bluetooth.
Okay.
That way you got both hands on the wheels. But some people get so consumed in a conversation that are on the phone so long, the conversation actually takes over more than the driving does. And that causes a problem. Then you got people texting, getting emails with the technology on the phone, Snapchat, Instagram. They think right then, I need to read it right now.
Mm-hmm.
When in reality, pull over somewhere and read it. It could be a good message. It could be a bad message.
Mm-hmm.
You know, delivering some bad news or trying to get a hold of you because somebody's hurt or something. That's going to distract you more. But distracted driving is getting more and more. You know, as we go along, there's more and more cars out here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, used to you'd have 1 or 2 cars in family. Now, you know, usually kids that got cars to go to school and college.
Mm-hmm.
Both parents are working, you know, and usually one's going one way, one's going the other way. So you constantly got that. And then you got the navigation systems. You know, some people have them in their car. Well, they turn them down and try to watch the arrows on it, which, you know, you probably should have the volume because it kind of gives you a head notice when you're doing it.
Right.
But some people just you get so consumed with the navigation system that they're taking their mind off what they're doing. And in driving, it's a full-time task. I mean, it's, you know, people don't realize that, you know, and they look away, or a lot of times people will reach back behind them and look on their kid or hand them a bottle. The next thing you know, bam, they rear-ended somebody. Most of our wrecks are due to following too closely, failure to yield the right of way, or disregarding the traffic control, whether it's a stop sign, a yield sign, or a traffic light.
Okay.
And we're getting more and more problems with people. You know, when the light's green, there's lines right there by the intersection. That's where you're supposed to stop, not ease on out into the middle. And then your next thing you know, the light's turning yellow or red, and you're stuck in the middle of the intersection, which that's against the law. And then you're turning left or right, and increasing your chances of being involved in a wreck because you're actually disregarding a traffic control device.
Okay.
I mean, if you're in that much of a hurry that you got to run red lights and speed and change the raggling drivers, you probably should have left a little bit earlier. You know, if you're late, I mean, most bosses, I'm sure that anybody's has a boss, their boss has been late before. You know, it's a whole lot safer to call ahead of time and say, hey, I woke up late, or my power went off, you know, with all these storms we're having and stuff. And it's not like it's an occasional thing, but, you know, we constantly having storms where it's knocking down trees and taking power out. And, you know, what I do is and I try to suggest is if you got an alarm clock, use your alarm clock, but most cell phones have an alarm clock too.
That's right.
You know, put it on charge, and then you got 2 alarms going off, you got a backup.
That's right.
And also, a lot of your alarms, if you're going to purchase an alarm, you can buy them where they have a backup battery. So if the power does go off, the clock's going to continue and the alarm's going to wake you up. And but if it does happen, you know, just call your boss. Him or her, I'm sure, was understand, because there's nobody in the world that has never been not late for something.
Right.
But texting is probably one of the biggest things with the younger drivers, and people think, oh, I can text so much, you know, I can do this and do this with the texting, but you get consumed in the conversation of the texting. And texting actually increases your chances of 23% of being involved in a collision. And people don't realize that when you have a major wreck, if you seriously hurt somebody, or if you actually end up killing somebody because of your error, that they're going to subpoena the phone records, and that's going to show that you're on the phone.
On the phone, absolutely.
And whether you're talking on the phone or actually texting. So the message will be there.
One question I wanted to ask a question about, and I know that most of our viewing audience is aware of this, but I want to bring it out just a little bit more. Talking on the phone and not having the hand-free device is against the law. Talk about that for us, if you don't mind.
Well, if you're under 18,
Okay.
you can't talk on the phone or text.
Okay.
And I don't understand, some parents will call their kids on the way to school. Why don't you have them call you when they get to school?
Right.
They're not driving.
That's right.
And a lot of people don't realize before their teenager gets their license and they're up there like that talking on their phone, what does that say? It's okay to talk on the phone when you're driving.
When you drive, absolutely.
And I've seen where I took a phone call, I said, hey, I just missed my turn, let me go. You know, and it's just a quick conversation,
Right.
you know, and I try to avoid that. I'll probably wait till I get to where I'm going, then I try to make the phone call.
Okay.
Unless it's an emergency. If it's an emergency, I'd immediately pull over and call if I needed to call. But people don't realize that when they got their hands up here holding their phone, that it's taking away that 2 hands on the wheel.
Absolutely.
You know, if you have a blowout, it's not going to take much to take it out of that 1 hand. But if you got 2, you can kind of hold on if you're hydroplane or. And you know, and a vehicle is mechanical, so it is possible that anything could happen to cause it to malfunction because it is mechanical. But it seems like more and more people are just so consumed in their phone conversation. Several years ago, I was working when we had when the Sonic was still here. The gentleman was going through and listening to a tape message of some bad news about his father's illness, and he actually was so consumed because he recorded what the doctor told his dad so he could remember it all. He was so consumed in the recording, he actually pulled out in front of a lady, and she swerved and missed and actually broke a bone. and that was a serious injury, and he was at fault.
At fault. That's right.
But people need to realize that, you know, and fooling with iPads and stuff like that. And I mean, technology is wonderful, but sometimes we need to lay that technology down and go
That's
back
right.
to just the basics.
In its proper place. Let me ask you, because it is texting is against the, texting and driving, I should say, not texting, but texting and driving is against the law. Does the police department write tickets if they see someone actually texting and driving?
Yes, we do.
Okay, all right.
It's Georgia law. And now if you're 18 or older, you can talk on the phone.
Okay.
And I try to recommend people, you spend all this money on you spend $400, $500, $600 on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Why not spend $100 more to get you a good headset? The technology, it's not like it used to be where you'd have a lot of static. The technologies for the headsets is fabulous. I mean, there's so many ones out there that distort driving noises and stuff like that, because you got you're looking, you're on the phone, you're listening, and you're driving. You got both hands, so you're keeping your hands on the wheels. And I think that keeps you more focused in what you're doing as far as driving, because, you know, the other person, you know, all accidents are preventable, and usually we issue a warning or a citation to that fault driver.
Oh, okay, all right.
And that's because it is preventable.
Okay, very good. And the month of April is Distracted Driving Month. You know, as you as an officer and working primarily in the traffic division, and I'm sure, no doubt, have worked some very bad wrecks or some accidents that, as you stated, and most of them are all preventable. As this month, Distracted Driving, what would you as an officer want to say to the general public?
Please don't text while you're driving, and definitely don't drive under the influence of prescription drugs or alcohol, because it increases your chances of a wreck. And if you have a wreck and you seriously hurt somebody or kill somebody, it's going to not only affect your life, it's also going to affect the family's life that you cause harm to that person. And even then, even if you just run off the road and you hit a telephone pole and you don't get a few minor scratches, was that going to affect your life? Well, yeah, your insurance is going to go up, and, you know, insurance rates are pretty high. You want to try to keep them low. People try to save money any way you can.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, then you could be arrested for the DUI, and then, you know, you're going to have to replace your car. You got to pay the deductible. Either way, it's going to call money out of your pocket.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, and, you know, there's no reason, you know, I'm sure everybody has a friend that would come up and come pick them up. Nobody probably intends to drink and drive, but if you've had a few, just call a friend.
Absolutely.
A good friend's going to come pick you up and say, hey, I got you, come on, we'll get your car tomorrow too. It's no problem. You know,
Ask
just
no
get you home.
questions, right?
Yeah, ask no questions. Like, let me just give you a ride home, get you tucked in there.
Mm-hmm.
See you later, and we'll come get your car tomorrow.
Absolutely.
And that's a whole lot cheaper for your insurance.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got arrested, and the money that's going to cost you to repair your car.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I mean, and the inconvenience, because, you know, there's so many wrecks out there, and it's not like you can take you have a wreck today and take your car to the body shop tomorrow. Usually it takes a couple of weeks, and then you got to drive around with your car all banged up and duct tape all over it, or
Yep.
try to get by. Or if it's so bad, you're going to have to get a rental car. There's more money out of your pocket.
Absolutely. Some people just don't realize, and I'm sure they realize, but don't understand the far-reaching consequences of when you have just that minor fender bender, because you're talking about 2,000 wrecks a year, you know, and again, we say that's 2,000 too many, but then, you know, not only for that individual, but then the individual that was also impacted by it, you know,
Yes.
so that could almost be double.
You know, some people have their cars paid for.
Mhm.
I worked one wreck, this gentleman had his car paid for. And it was in excellent shape. He serviced it, he maintained it. Lady pulled out in front of him, he had a wreck, totaled his car, so now he had a car payment.
Mm-hmm.
Where he didn't have a car payment and his car was in excellent shape.
Right.
But because the damage overseeded what the value of the truck was, and they told it.
Mhm.
And, you know, if you get an airbag deployed, you're talking about $2,000
Mm.
just to
Absolutely.
replace the airbag.
Uh-huh.
And then, you know, paint's expensive, the body parts, and especially if you have a newer car, sometimes it's hard to get them parts in because it's a new car and they
That's
hadn't
right.
made extra parts up on it, you
That's
know.
right. Absolutely.
And another thing about distracted driving, you'll see people brushing their teeth, putting makeup on, reading a newspaper or a magazine. If it's that important, you probably should do it at home or wait till you get to the office, because,
That's right.
you know, it's going to affect your driving. Some people just, you know, in such a hurry to get out of work. Like when I worked at school crossing, some of them school kids come out at school crossing like the building's on fire
On
or something.
fire,
They're,
right.
they're just flying out, and we every now and then we get a chance we can do enforcement, and it's zero tolerance.
Right.
Because they're endangering other people's lives driving that way. There's no reason to come out of the school that way. It's where you going.
Young people and speed seem to kind of
Yes.
go together, don't they?
And speed is always bad, because you're going to have people don't realize when you hit an object of speed, you got momentum of energy.
Mhm.
When you hit that item, it's also the energy is going to extend somewhere to the vehicle, whether it's parts in the vehicle, you, or parts coming off the vehicle. That energy has to go somewhere when it comes to a complete stop.
Absolutely. Well, Corporal, it's always a pleasure to sit down with you, and we just want our viewing audience to remember that the month of April is Distracted Driving Month. By all means, Corporal Engel has a pamphlet here that you can stop by the LaGrange Police Department, pick up. It's
Several
free.
of them. Free.
Okay,
Free to anybody coming in. They're in the front part of the lobby.
Okay.
We got all kinds of information about distracted driving, seat belts, child restraints, and we're constantly putting them in there. We encourage people to come in and get them because, you know, some people, well, what age do I pull a child out?
Okay.
You know, and what's a good seat belt, you know? So it has good recommendations from the National Safety and the USA Education Foundation.
Okay, well, very good. Corporal, it's always a pleasure to sit down with you, and definitely, again, I want to say thank you to you and all the others in uniform to keep our community safe. So thank you
I
very
enjoyed
much,
being
sir.
here.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned for more City Week coming up in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining for City Week this week. My guests have been from Pure Life Studio, Maggie McDonald, along with Kim Skiff, as they talked about the upcoming fundraising event for the Callers Cancer Crushing Crew for a Day, and the event that will be held over at Pure Life Studios on April 29th through May the 1st. So by all means, buy a ticket, go out and enjoy some great music, and it's all for a very worthwhile cause. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I had on the show today from the LaGrange Police Department, Corporal Wesley Engel, as he talked about Distracted Driving Month, which is the month of April. So by all means, ladies and gentlemen, go by and pick up one of the pamphlets and make sure that you don't become a distracted driver this month or any other month. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed these interviews, and as always, I want to invite you back for more of City Week.